They decided they wanted to have less people at the zoo, so they put robot feeders in, and they would like move and pick up stuff. And
They put automatic toys in.
And the tiger, because they're moving, the main tiger in the enclosure
Decided that this was
they
a toy.
shouldn't be there. So it started murdering them. And it killed 10 of them at $5,000 each before they came in to get the rest out. Candy canes will go in a hot glue gun.
Please don't tell my wife that.
That has got to be insanely dangerous. Because have y'all like melted sugar before? Like doing that gets properly hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like an unsafe level of hot.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't like to come off of skin.
I have no doubt about that. I also don't want to think about it. Your hospital has a very large burn unit. I imagine that's been.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yes. Gene's hospital is the burn unit for our entire state. Right. My name is Neal Parker. To my immediate left is David Bliss, and down on the far end is Gene Hobbs. And this is the Cheerful Adventure Company's podcast, Rumble Strips. Don't ask why we've named it that. Anyway, tonight we are having a conversation about what has gone right and more likely wrong in January of 2026. There's been plenty, as just as an FYI. But in terms of things that have gone very much right, I think what we'll probably do is kind of just skip around sort of at random, but I will start. Gentlemen, I have good news. The Wienermobiles are going to race at the Indy 500.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I know. We will have
That'd be a good job.
We will have a
Wienermobile
picture of the Wienermobiles in there that they are going to relish the spotlight of being on the world's, in terms of Indy cars, largest stage. And I don't know how you tell them apart, frankly.
How many of them are there?
I was surprised to find out that there was more than one.
There's a bunch.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Have either of y'all ever seen one in public?
Yes.
I have not.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I've seen one in North Carolina. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't say precisely who, but somebody that I am very closely related to wanted to drive the Wienermobiles and actually got pretty far into the application. Really?
There are six Wienermobiles in the fleet.
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
It's the AI response. I'm using
Oh,
AI.
okay. We just used AI. Somebody that I
27 foot
said
long.
very, very close to applied for that, and I think made it through the final round of interviews. I was surprised that interviewing was a thing, but that makes sense. If you're going to be driving a giant hot dog down the road, why not?
All right. The driver of a Wienermobile is called,
Oh, no.
this is on the Oscar Mayer site,
Okay.
the Hot Dogger. Capital T, capital H. The Hot Dogger.
And that's a wrap, folks.
And the Hot Dogger's job is to meet, MEAT, and greet people around the country. It's worse. It's on their site. I'm not even making it up.
Okay, I now regret my opening thing here. I thought it would be funny and lighthearted given how awful some of the rest of January has been. But
So if you're regretting the hot dog, like, we don't have a food pyramid to go to anymore. Because, in January of this year, we have now flipped it to where it, I don't know, looks like a dangling pizza slice, I guess. But
where does pizza fit on the new food shape?
So pizza is the best rounded food ever. It's got everything you need. If you get, right, it's got cheese, which is dairy. If you get pepperoni, that's the meat, right? It's got your breads and cereals, and tomato sauce is a fruit.
Yeah, but I do not think that they have kept all of the categories. I think that they shuffled an awful lot of stuff. Hang on. What did they do? Because they did a bunch more than just
somebody
flip it upside
noticed that
down.
the food pyramid was identical to the hog fattening pyramid by the USDA a couple of years ago. So it was identical, so they decided to redo it.
yeah.
That's appalling.
Am I wrong, Gene?
No, not at all. I'm pretty sure that's how that fell out. major shifts in the federal nutrition messaging that come along with shifting that. But it's emphasizing whole foods, protein, and healthy fats. Saturated fats are still recommended to be below 10%, but it's fairly controversial in the fact that it's yet again new messaging around things that may or may not be based in science. And it sounds like scientists are actually kind of split on whether this is a good thing or a bad thing from what I could tell in the little bit of reading that I did. I didn't dig deep enough into it, honestly, to really have a clue, but I wouldn't have a clue anyway. It's not my area. But.
Gene, in the last year and change, I don't even want to say the man's name, but the individual who is in charge of quite a bit of this stuff, how many decisions would you posit have been made that are scientific ones? Like in terms of a percentage?
Not many. I don't know.
Have we hit double digits yet?
I'm not sure.
Excellent. So the war on science continues.
It does, and I found that to be interesting. The good news is, though, Dr. Oz also this month said that alcohol is a social lubricant. Just don't have it for breakfast.
It's also a solution, technically speaking.
Yeah. So when you say that you don't have a solution, it actually probably is. But depending upon what you're getting, I guess I don't know that I would consider beer to be a solvent.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you could dissolve in beer, I don't think I want to be around.
Yeah. I mean, soft drinks will dissolve a lot of stuff too. So
I've heard that. I can think of much cheaper things to dissolve stuff with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when people say, "Oh, this will do whatever," and I'm like, I don't think that that's a good idea or good use of my time and or that particular material. But who am I to judge?
Yeah, those entertained me as far as food related topics here at the beginning. So thanks for kicking us off with the
I was not. So we don't script these things. I have no idea what these two are going to talk about.
I just looked it up because you brought up the Wienermobile. It was that fast.
We had to. Clearly, we're not scripting these things because we're frankly very incompetent when it comes to preparing for this. I will throw another one out there.
Uh-oh.
No, you go right ahead if you want to, but I've got another one. Because I'm sure it will come up many times tonight, but since David mentioned AI, so right now in this month, Elon Musk, one of my least favorite people on the planet, his Grok AI is in quite a bit of trouble for inappropriate pictures, and we'll leave it at that. We won't go any further down there. However, what sort of hilariously inappropriate pictures might people be using and doing annoying things to government officials with?
Creating memes?
Close. Close.
I'm scared.
You should be.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and combine 3 stories I've heard in my head over the last year and say they're taking their clothes off.
That's a good guess, but unfortunately, no. So monkeys are on the loose in St. Louis. Monkeys are on the loose in St. Louis.
Now I'm lost.
Yeah, monkeys are on the loose in St. Louis. So what is the good denizens of St. Louis doing? These are now my favorite people besides the good folks in Portland that dress up as frogs. They are turning in pictures as tips that are AI generated. So they're sending all of these anti-monkey enforcement officials on wild, I guess it's the goose chase. I will avoid the obvious direction I could have gone with that. It's unclear who owns the monkeys, how they got loose, or exactly how many there are, is what one official is saying. People have reported capturing the monkeys and posting fake pictures online to bolster the claim. However, all of the monkeys are still actually at large.
Of course they are.
So, they don't know how many there are. Obviously, there's more than
If
one.
you wait long enough, there'll be more.
Yeah. Ooh, I hadn't thought of it because, like, South Carolina had all of the monkeys escape. And
I still don't think they caught them all.
I don't know if they have or not. That might be something we have to look up and see if that's a 2025 or 2026 story conclusion. We'll do that in a moment. But yeah, so is the problem that they're running into is that they cannot tell with the tips where the jocularity begins and where the actual monkeyness begins. So I have thoroughly enjoyed that one. Congratulations, people of St. Louis.
That is a lot of AI-related monkey business.
Oh, God. Yes, Gene, that is precisely what it is. It is an excessive amount of AI-related monkey business.
I'm going to keep you on the AI topic for a second there.
I figured we would have many AI stories. I know I've got a bunch.
I avoided those because I figured that those would be well covered, and I was trying to find things that were entertaining to me. And but this is a trend that happened this month. It's AI generated boyfriends.
I mean, I'm not going to judge.
It's generate a man next to me that will suit me, and then these single young ladies are sending those images off to their moms to show that they have a relationship.
That's interesting that technology has dealt with a problem that, frankly, a lot of young folks do have. Is that I'm not currently seeing somebody, or I'm, whatever circumstances would cause you to feel the need to do that. That's actually a really clever use. I'm impressed.
So we've been watching Big Bang Theory
Okay.
at our house because my son's never seen it before. We're almost done with it,
okay.
but we've been watching it through the first time with him.
Mm-hmm.
But this story made me laugh because I started thinking about, would Amy Farrah Fowler have ever ended up with Sheldon if the AI had existed at the time to give her a boyfriend, since her mom required that she go on one date per year? So I don't know.
Huh.
I just it's a point worth pondering. I don't know how big of a deal this actually is. I don't know if you give your daughter a hard time about having boyfriends or not, but I just found it interesting that was a trend this month for the use of AI, is to create fake people that you're dating.
I will say that is not the worst use of AI and people that I'm sure we will hear about tonight.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
This would be bad for me passing my AI class.
I'm not really. Not really. I'm sure there's plenty of conversations that will be had in there about ethics and like what you should do, what you should not do. Unfortunately, I don't think any of the people that are in the marketing departments of like OpenAI or X, the Grok team, I don't think any of them had any sort of ethics training. So, or I suspect that they didn't. It doesn't seem to be that way at all. You got anything?
So yeah, January 20th, apparently a gentleman in Oregon, known as the town outcast, had enough and trained a moose to attack an ATM machine and rip it open. It then walked away, and he pocketed $100,000. I have the photo.
We will put that photo on here.
Wow.
That is
Trained a moose. Trained a moose, walked up to the ATM, was like, this one.
That
Jumped
one.
up, hit it. Money starts flying, the moose walked off, he started picking up the cash.
$100,000 is not a tremendous amount.
No.
No. However, that is a remarkably clever way of doing that. Like you see people, they go and they steal a forklift and they push a hole in the building or whatever. They steal something very heavy and they knock a big hole in something. Or they try to steal the whole machine. I think there was an incident in Breaking Bad where somebody met the very grim end in that. I would not have thought to use a moose or an animal, frankly.
A moose, that's a new one for me. I wouldn't have thought of trying to train a moose in general, much less to commit crimes.
How? So this is very much not, we're talking before we began about buffalo, or as Gene calls them, the woolly cows. These wild animals, they are not terribly trainable. Like, the price of getting it wrong is very, very high.
Yeah.
Oh dear, no.
Yeah, they can cause a lot of damage with very little effort on their part.
When you're the size of a Volkswagen, and the picture will show is quite remarkable. It's the size of a Volkswagen with pointy bits on it. Yeah. David, that's horrifying.
I thought it was novel.
I
think it's impressive.
You know about the monks, right? Walking through, so they went through Raleigh. I wanted to go see them.
I got to see them.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the middle
We were a little iced in, so we wanted to go see them too. But my wife is like, "It's too cold to go see the monks."
We froze to death, and it was on the day of the ice, but they went by the temple close to our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we've been tracking them since they entered North Carolina.
It was appallingly cold and slippery.
And my wife does not do well with cold weather.
Yeah, I had some neighbors that went to go see him. We didn't. Honestly, though, has anybody heard what the outcome of the dog surgery was?
Oh,
So we had a dog that had been
No.
Oh,
Apparently,
yeah,
somebody
surgery.
raised. I think it was. I saw it. It was. It's like almost $4,400 it cost, and you can't. As I understand it, you can't give the monks anything because they're renunciates, but you can hand them flowers and stuff. But apparently, because the dog was a stray, it joined them. It had problems. Apparently, people quickly raised like $4,400, took it to the vet, got it fixed, and brought it back, and it's traveling with the monks again.
So it is back.
That's what I've heard.
Oh, excellent.
I knew the plan was for it to come back to the monks, but I wasn't
Yeah,
sure that.
but as I understand it, like they didn't give the money to the monks; they paid for the vet bill for the dog.
Well, that's quite wholesome. Good job, people. We have to explain real quick. There's a group of monks that are walking from, I believe, Texas, all the way up to DC.
I think they're going to DC.
Yeah, DC, and they're doing it for, I guess, as a statement of peace and solidarity and hope, and it's a lovely set of ideas. That's why we're on that tangent, because they are wandering their way through where we are right now, as we speak.
Yeah, and they've been walking for quite a while.
They've been
To
at
go
this
from
for
Texas
quite a
to
while.
North Carolina. Yeah.
That is internet. That is a very long distance to walk. Yeah, it's like when we were kids and playing Oregon Trail. Yeah, that's like half of that distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not half, but a lot of it.
Right. What do you got?
I got many more, but
So I don't really have an easy transition to anything that we were just talking about, but the next thing that I had here that has really been hitting hard is the flu surge. We've had a lot of flu this year, and 45 states is where it's surging, so it's practically everywhere in the U.S. now, are
through my
reaching the
house.
highest levels that have been seen in 30 years.
Somebody said the new strain is 40 to. There's one out there right now, 40 to 70% fatal.
Wow.
that's
Yeah,
very high.
I don't know, but the fact that we're reaching highest flu levels ever now is notable.
So, is this perhaps? I don't know how bad the tendency away from vaccinations have made it to the flu shots. Has that also been a casualty?
So that was some of the speculation that I read, was that there wasn't as many people getting the flu shot this year.
Okay.
But
Who
about
get flu
1 in
shots,
10
people?
outpatient visits in December were related to the flu.
Give flu
That's a
shots
lot
if
of
you need them or
documentation.
susceptible, is what I would say.
Yeah.
I am not opposed to vaccinations. Many are important. Measles, for example. But
UK
there is research that shows if you regularly get the flu shot after 5 in a row, it actually drops your immunity to the flu.
I have no
Which
idea
was
about
weird.
that one.
Don't know. I'd have to ask an immunologist on that one.
Yeah, that's one where we will be very careful on that one. There's probably an authority.
But see,
on
what
that.
I wanted was, I'll go there. I wanted the J&J shot for COVID, if we're going to talk about this for a minute, right?
sure.
And somebody argued with me that, why would I want that? It's only 70% effective.
It was one and done. That's
When
the
the other
that I
one was
got.
like 96% effective. And I said, yes, but it's 96% effective against this strain.
Yeah.
The minute it mutates, the numbers drop into the 30s and lower for effective. And then I got to get a booster. And then I got to get a booster. And then I got to get another one. And then I get another one. I said, we beat polio and how many? Like on 70% because it's all strains. I'll take 70% against all strains in a burn through over having to get a shot every 2 weeks for the rest of my life because it's so specifically like the 70% is against all the variants. Like,
I appreciated that I did not have to go and get that update because that was a shockingly painful shot.
that shot messed me up.
I don't remember a whole lot from that little period of time aside from like my body could not figure out whether I was going to freeze to death or cook to death.
If I had woken up and realized I didn't feel good and put my work phone on my chest when I fell back asleep, because when I finally woke up, because that was like 3 a.m, when I finally woke up and I realized I could actually tell my boss without waking them that there was no way I was making it in because of that shot, all I could move were my hands. So if my phone hadn't been on my chest, I wouldn't have been able to say nothing for like 2 or 3 more hours.
As bad as it was, it's not as bad as dying.
That's true. But I mean, it's completely out of your system after a while. So
Didn't
like,
take very long.
mRNA doesn't last that long. And people were like, I'm like, if you Google it, it's been used in cancer research for 12 years at that point. Like, it wasn't new, but it wasn't.
It hadn't been used. That use case was new.
Yes.
However, mRNA, the war on that bit of science, I suspect will also now be setting back cancer research by
It already is,
decades because that stuff got defunded.
Yeah.
The stuff that was in the pipeline has just been thrown aside.
And
You
like
can't
just
rebuild
before
that
the defunding
infrastructure.
hit, I saw somebody say, like, based on all the leaps we made just then, they said less than a year from being able to, you get cancer, they can sample it, they can build within 2 weeks like a targeted shot for your specific cancer that affects nothing else in your body, and boom, you turn your immune system on and it would kill it.
And I mean,
Like, they defeat cancer right there.
another big one for this month is that a number of large schools, Harvard and Yale are the two that come to mind, have announced that they're cutting their PhD programs dramatically.
Ooh,
So
I had not seen that.
they're having to cut their admissions. So if they're not bringing in the people who would be doing the research and they're not training them to be able to do the research, now not only have we seen developments within medicine as a whole slow because of lack of funding, now we're going to see the knowledge start to decay at an even faster rate because it's not being passed on to the next generation. And new ideas that are brought forward by that new generation won't come forward as fast as they used to.
How long does it take y'all to spool up a research lab in the med school? Like when you take on a new rock star researcher, how long does it take them to spool up that lab and start producing papers and results?
I honestly don't know starting from scratch because we haven't hired anybody. I haven't hired anybody in my groups that didn't come in with some type of background where they were really getting up to speed and moving. But it's not fast.
It is.
I mean, even
here at this school, it is not fast at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People who
slower.
come in with large like R01 grants, they've been on no cost extensions for a couple of years and they have no other grant following in. Like their time that had been spent on research is now getting ready to have to go back to being clinical again because they don't have that direction.
What
So
do they say? You can have it fast, you can have high quality, you can have it quick.
but not all.
You gotta pick two.
No,
Right?
no.
Yeah.
And I sat with my vendors and
No.
said,
You get to pick one.
no.
You get to pick one
You
now.
can do two.
No.
But I sat down with my vendors and I said, look, I'm government funded. I don't have any money. So I need a high quality product.
And I can't make you go fast.
So as long as that takes, I don't have the money.
Yeah. And I won't be able to
So
replace
it's
it
gotta be
anytime because
cheap.
I still don't have the money.
I need cheap quality,
Yeah.
which means take your time. If somebody around here tells you to go faster than cheap and quality, they better open a checkbook because
There you
I'm
go.
government funded and I can't afford to replace or redo all the time. Which
Yep.
amazes me with the amount of, we need it now. Why isn't it working? Do it again.
Right.
Would have cost less if we just did it right the first time.
But now we're not going to be creating the people who create solutions.
No.
We haven't been working toward that for a while.
Yeah,
Well, we were doing pretty good. Like, to produce a new PhD person, you don't technically have to have a master's degree to go into a PhD program.
That's right.
But in medicine, you're going to be at that for a while. But an awful lot of cancer research is done by biologists, biochemists, and biochemists because they're looking at the very tiny little relationships between things, and they might, like somebody in this lab might discover this tiny little relationship, and somebody in this other lab discover this tiny little relationship, and then somebody like Gene's institution would go and say, well, if we take this and we take that and we take a whole bunch of other things and we glue them all together, maybe if we shake it really good, it won't blow up and it cures something. That's how science works. It's a lot of little pieces, and to David's point, it is a lot of expensive little pieces that we're funding as best we can, and every bit of that's just
Well, I do have a problem with the current model, and I'll tell you why. You said it, and nothing against you, but it's like it calls it out if you say it. You get some PhDs. There are a lot of really talented, really smart people who can't follow a standard education. Like me, I'm working now, but I couldn't do school when I was younger.
sure.
You know, and now I have a bachelor's in nuclear engineering technology. I have a master's in 3 months. The point is, I solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
I engineered stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there are people out there, like NASA's said. You know, like the person who figures out how to get a ship up without using a rocket engine is going to be some guy in his garage because they can't dedicate to it. It's going to be some tinkerer who just.
That's where innovation comes from. A research.
But we don't
PhD
put
is
any
trained
money
on-
there.
Yeah, no, we should.
That's what I mean.
So,
like, oh, you don't have a
level
PhD,
research.
no grant for you. But if there's a dude doing groundbreaking, like, there's no mechanism for them to get.
yeah, but it also depends on the types of grants that they're looking for too. Like you could be in a program that primarily turns out folks in undergrad, and you have really great undergrad research that goes technically unfunded, but they're funded by the departments. Departments can take the overhead and reinvest that into projects that wouldn't normally get funded, and that's where a lot of the ground level baseline data comes from that ultimately may go into something to get somebody else looking at a
The problem I have with that is,
so many
so
problems.
I don't know
so
about
many
how
we all have
yeah,
problems.
I don't know about how many universities have this issue, but we get a lab to spin up. They want to do research. They don't want to put money into, and not everybody, but I'm going to say solidly 80%. They don't care what the utility bill is. They don't care how much waste there is.
Right.
They don't
The
care the
overhead.
fact that I got to find a spot. Like I've gotten in arguments with engineers where they're like, this will max out the air handler. We just want to approve this. And then when I ask, like, what else is he putting in there? That's not part of my project. And then, like, the PI comes on. He's like, I'm adding a glove box. I'm like, well, why are we going to charge him twice? He needs to upsize the air handler right now. Why are we going to pay to do this when we know in 6 months he's going to have to add? Let's just do the ad now so he's good to go and save him some money.
Yeah.
The engineer right there is like, but that's and my point isn't that we don't. One of the first projects I got into, and I can't even remember what building it was in. I got pulled in when I got here. I hadn't been here a year. I go into this lab, and part of the problem is their fume hood's not working. Right? And again, I'm not saying where. I don't even remember where. Their fume hood's not working. I go into this huge open lab space, and the fume hood's over there, and it's not working. And they're right, it's not. Doesn't even have ductwork. Hasn't worked for a year. That's the claim. And I would like to say that this is a unique situation, but it's not. People make changes and then try and say that it hasn't worked and it's on facilities to make it
never
work.
worked. Yeah.
So I'm standing in there. I haven't worked here a year. Not a year. But I'm standing there going, well, it never did. And I look up, and in the middle of this lab, there is a 3 foot wide, 2 foot down, like if you put a drop ceiling up there, it's sticking out like concrete reinforced support beam for the building. There are no holes in it. There's a piece of ductwork that looks like fume hood ductwork, the stainless steel, on that wall.
And this thing is over on that wall.
There's no hole saying there was ever ductwork drilled to go there.
Oh wait,
And so I'm like,
let's stop it with an engineering thing. David, what happens in a government building when somebody drills through a structural member?
depends. Hopefully nothing bad, but
Boy, they get fussed at by government people like. Yes.
yeah.
What would you say if I just started drilling holes in the things that's holding up the building that we're in?
So I had to yell at a guy who wanted to mount his radio in our engine room in the Navy because he couldn't get any signal because we were below the water line and we had a lot of reactor shielding. So I was on USS Enterprise, right? Working one MMR. It's the one in the Star Trek movie with the whales, right?
Yep.
I actually worked there, and I come down, and this guy is leaning on his drill because he wants to tap screws and mount his radio, and he figures if he mounts it and he can get the antenna hooked into the hull steel, the carrier will act, and he'll be able to get radio signal to listen to his radio in the engine room.
What
And
does
I told
Uncle
him-
Sam say when you drill a hole below the water line
And I'm
in
like,
his
dude,
boat?
We draft 44 feet. If you punch a hole through there, you're not getting a tap in it.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. Good luck with that.
There's a pinhole of water coming at you with way too much force for you to get it, like, stop. So I stopped him. Wasn't the worst one. Carrier's not around.
Wait, does it
anymore.
get worse?
Oh, we had a guy who had found a case of wire, like, cutting discs.
Oh.
He kept volunteering for duty to clean out tanks, and we found out he was slowly trying to cut the carrier in half.
Really?
When they caught him, they actually had to pull in and have a lot of them emptied and went down and did patch welding.
Really?
Wow.
This man was on a.
I think he went to
one-man
jail.
mission. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's some dumb people.
Yeah, no, that I gotta give the man
Wow.
credit. That is not dumb. That is brilliant. Like,
Unless
for
you're on the boat
ingenuity-
when it cracks in half.
That's a
out
long
to sea.
game, man.
Yeah,
Like, that's a really long
He's taking
game.
a long view. And gee, you are right.
Like I said, the worst we ever did is like 2 a.m. we decided to make up a rumor. Like we're bored, it's like 3 a.m, we're in the MDiv office, and we're like, what are we gonna do? Let's see if we can make up a rumor. Okay, what kind of rumor? We need one that'll spread. So we decided, and people out there may have heard it, but I was there, I was one of 3 people in the room, and we started this rumor. And we decided it needed to be weird, so it would carry, of course. So we decided that Nostradamus had predicted in the latter decade of the 20th century, the floating 60 of 69 would sink beneath the waves.
Oh no.
Now, it's not in Nostradamus anywhere.
Yeah.
But years later, I have had to have people tell me that I have never met in my life that the floating city of 65 would sink in the latter decade. Because we were on CBN 65. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not in there. We made it up.
Original sources. No one ever goes to the original source.
So I think there's a line in one of the Terry Pratchett books. I think it's Going Postal. Terry Pratchett writes satire stuff, and I forget how it's phrased, but it's something like a lie will make it around the world before the truth can get its pants on.
Yes. That is absolutely, especially if it's a juicy one.
Mr. Pratchett, late Mr. Pratchett, I believe, was correct.
My favorite thing about him is when he got knighted.
Would they shoot him out of a cannon?
No, he got knighted and he wrote fiction,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Satirical fiction, but
he felt that knights, if you're a knight, you've got to have a sword. So he walked his land until he found an iron meteorite that had fallen from, and he had it forged into a sword so he could be a knight with a star-made sword.
nice. Okay, I had no idea.
That would have been hard to work that.
I'm sure he didn't do it himself.
Oh, I'm sure not, but
I'm
still,
sure
that's,
as well.
that's really, really cool.
That's wild.
It's announced January
Okay.
that the U.S. plans to build nuclear reactors on the moon within the next 4 years, according to the Department of Energy.
That seems a little ambitious. How long did it take y'all to glue your reactors together? Hang on. On the Enterprise, how many did you have?
So there was only one Enterprise class carrier.
Yeah.
It was the Enterprise, and we had 8. We had our own section of the rad continental. What it was the Enterprise was built without knowing what you'd need.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get that. So
there's a first time for everything, and you're about to get a history lesson at the first time of some interesting stuff.
Anything. It had, the reactors weren't all the same companies. The steam generators.
Really?
Yeah, the steam generators weren't all from one company. It was literally like, here's some Westinghouse, here's some General Electric, here's some blah. And they went through it, and it was to see which worked best.
Oh, we were talking about scientific research.
So
Gene.
when you
This
get
is
to the
practical
Nimitz, they had
research.
2 larger reactors.
Yeah.
Right, so we had 132 megawatt. They had 2 550s, I think it was. My numbers could be off a little bit.
You had
Somebody would
8,
change
how
it.
many?
132.
Is that a lot?
So you figure a
Small city.
turbine generator on campus generates about 5.5 meg. Our full load pull is roughly 30, 40. So the carrier can output that.
Easily.
And,
I'll put several of that.
so I'll tell you this, I can't find the news article, but I know it's out there somewhere because I read it. And I know it happened. We were in Newport News Shipyard. We were doing reactor plant testing. Normally you need a steam dump, because you're making steam, you're turning turbines, and you're trying to do like prolonged, like run it for so many days, do this, run it for that, run it at this power level, and you're trying to do that. And eventually you get into like cat testing where you're firing weights off the ship into the water to make sure that works and your reactors can regulate for the surges, right?
You want to find out that something doesn't work when you have the engineers and the people who designed it. Yeah. You have like people there that can come and help.
And whoever worked for the shipyard and wrote their contracts, I need that person in my life on my side.
Yeah.
Because that contract said if they rebuilt it and it didn't work, they got paid full price to take it apart and rebuild it again. However many times it took.
That's impressive.
Right? I'm like,
Yeah,
I
no,
need
but-
that guy on my side.
Well, if you think about it, you're building the very first thing. So like you don't.
No.
You go into
In the shipyard for a refit. To take it apart and make sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually very, very reasonable sounding. Like we don't know how this is, whether it's going to work.
I have a 2.5 megawatt steam turbine generator.
Mhm.
I know how it works. It was built in 1960.
Yes.
You built it. I'm paying you to take it apart, clean it up, make sure it works, and put it back together so I can use it for another 20 years.
Yes.
The contract says if you mess that up, I got to pay you full price to do it again.
You could get paid twice to do the same work and it only worked once.
And again.
I think I misunderstood how that
again.
was working. Yes, that's a problem. That's a bad.
I'm not saying they
Unless
did it.
you're the attorney who wrote the contract or the
I'm
company
just saying
who's
I
doing
need
it.
that guy in my life, on my side.
That is a level of piracy that I did not know was. Usually, like you hear about the government being the gangsters. No, that is.
I don't think that they
amazing.
did anything untoward.
Well, I'm sure
I'm
they
not
did.
making that claim at all. But I am saying, wow.
No risk.
Because, like, if I pay somebody to put something in here and it's not right, they got to come fix it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't pay them extra.
Right.
I paid you to make it work.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
what was I saying before that? Oh, so anyway, so we're Pier Side, and we're trying to do this testing, and it is super hot. So think Newport News Shipyard, it's got to be July, August, September.
It's just hot there anyway.
And we're in this heat wave, and this would have to be circa 1995, 94-ish, right? Because we haven't left the pier at all. So it's before we started going out and trying to see how things worked and relearning how to be a warship. Because they had to cut holes all in it to move. Complex nuclear reactor, refueled it. We refueled all 8 reactors and everything. So we're doing that. And Dominion, I think it was at the time, Dominion Energy, I don't even know if they're still a company.
They are actually. My
They
father,
started-
before he passed, sold a boatload of natural gas reactors, not reactors, but natural gas power plants to Dominion.
So they start instituting roving blackouts
Why?
because they don't have enough capacity to help everybody's air conditioner in the state of Virginia stay on.
Okay.
So they're cutting off sections. They're in. We don't have any more juice mode. Problem, of course, is everybody's air conditioner's running as hard as it can, and when you turn them off, it's not like they come back slow. They come back and it's hot,
Yeah.
and they're trying they're going right back
Like
to
a
crazy.
motor that's just firing up.
So they drop Newport News, including the shipyard. We're using shore power for latch voltage for the control rods for the reactor, right? We lose voltage, the CRDMs spring open, rods go to the bottom, reactor's off. Steam quits, right? Generators quit generating steam, no more roundy, no more testing. So somebody got the bright idea of to hell with Dominion. And they pulled in the electricians, and we have breakers that trip on reverse current. So they racked them out, rotated them, and put them back in.
So you were feeding into the grid.
Fired up, started all of our turbines, and start pushing. Dominion starts trying to find out where the power's coming from. Calls around, I'm told, I wasn't in the room, but it was in the article, which I can't find a copy of, and I really want one. Calls around and finds that the feed is coming from the Newport News shipbuilding. So they call, I think it was owned by Tenneco at the time, the CEO of the shipyard working for Tenneco. What's going on? CEO of Dominion, CEO of Tenneco, what's going on? And he's like, you made the Navy mad. They were doing reactor testing on an aircraft carrier. They needed it stable. They were using your power. You dumped it. So now they're using their power and using you as a load and pushing the grid. Because the Defense Department needs this carrier working.
Right.
And you're screwing with them. And apparently the guy from Dominion, he goes, no, we're not mad. How long can they keep it up? Because they're making up the delta and we don't have to have roving blackouts in the state as long as they're pushing like this. Because we've got all 8 generators just whumping. We don't have radar to power. It's still taking up our,
You're not throwing planes into the sky?
nothing. Like all we're doing is, like we're not turning the turbines to go through the water. We're pierside. We're just pumping all the juice we can into the
So
electric grid.
8 times 130 is many.
No, because we only have so many steam generators.
Okay.
So we're pushing, I don't know, maybe 50 megawatts, if that. Probably
That's
less.
still a lot.
Probably 20,
That's so long.
right? So we're pushing that. Anyway, so we're doing that. So the next day it's in the news.
Good.
Navy stops rolling blackouts. That's the article I've been trying to find.
So
But
do you know what paper that was in? Because we can.
it was a local.
I guarantee you, we can go to the library, and the librarians here will be able to work with the librarian in that town and get
Yeah.
a copy of that. I
That would be-
guarantee it.
That would be awesome. I've looked because you usually could find like old back issues online. I have not, but that was it. So
No,
yeah,
it'll
we
be on-
pushed. We kept up.
It'll be on microphone.
Stupid stories not related to current.
Yeah, but still, yeah, no, that's impressive.
Well, given that we're so for so long in this country, we declared war on nuclear power, and now we're kind of, I think, opening up to the
Fastest way to
idea.
decarbonize in the world.
Yeah, I think all of us here are pro.
But a lot of people are like, yeah, but what about the waste? But you could take all the waste
not
for the
that
last
much.
50 years.
It's not
Because you haven't been allowed to dump for 50 years. It's kept on site. You can take all the waste for the last 50 years and it won't fill a football stadium. If we built the reprocessing plant, which we were scheduled to build until... So I know a guy who was scheduled to work on that project. I was working in Maryland at the time. MedImmune. He got sent to the project because his project that was supposed to start on Monday canceled. Because they're $2 billion to build this government-owned fuel reprocessing facility. Got canceled Friday. The government announced under Obama, I think it was, they'd found $2 billion in the budget for cash for clunkers.
Oh, great. So nuclear reprocessing, yeah, just
Didn't
scary.
get built, but if they'd have built that plant, the last 50 years worth of waste that would actually have been waste and couldn't be reprocessed would fit in 2 55-gallon drums.
Really, it would go down to that small of an amount? That's mildly irritating.
So, yeah.
So, like,
Because like most of the uranium's still usable.
So now we have had some problems when we were building so that's commercial power. When we were building the first set of atomic bombs, the Hanford site.
Yeah. That made little boy.
Yeah, well, the Hanford site, correct me if I'm wrong, that was a plutonium plant, right? So I forget what Oak Ridge was one. But then Hanford was the other one. And
So you
I
need
forget
a
which
neutron.
which was doing plutonium, which was doing uranium. But Hanford, it's still a bad mess. It's getting better, but
And
it's
that's
still,
the part a lot of people don't realize. And I think that's the biggest problem. You hear the word reactor on a movie, there's a mushroom cloud later.
I mean,
Right?
I think that's all.
Use a bioreactor, and it's going to blow up, and that's just a freaking chamber to grow germs in, right?
It could just be like a chemical reaction going on. There's
Right.
some yeast.
So
Right.
when nuke plants that are power plants go up, it's a steam explosion. People don't realize that. It's not mushroom cloud, it's not an atomic weapon, it's steam. Now it's melting metal and it is radioactive. But it's a steam explosion. They're pretty safe. You can make a really safe reactor. But nuclear reactors run like uranium-234. That's slow fission. So you need a neutron source, and then it hits and it breaks them apart, and it strips the heat away with water, right? And turn that into steam,
Sure.
and you turn a little roundy round, and you get power, right?
It is no different than a steam engine of
Right.
yore, like a locomotive.
But a lot of people don't realize, a critical nuclear reactor, that's the happy state. That means the number of neutrons being produced in one generation is equal to the number in the next, and it's steady state running. Subcritical just means it's shutting down. Supercritical means it's starting up. Prompt critical is bad.
I don't know that term.
That means that the total number of neutrons in the reactor is, man, it's been a while. It's amazing. I can remember some terms and definitions from 30 years ago. Like temperature is a measure of the average random molecular kinetic energy of a substance. That's beat into my head.
Yep.
Prompt critical bad. You're not shutting it off.
Oh, okay.
Too many neutrons.
Yeah, too many neutrons, and neutrons are increasing at an increasing rate.
Beyond slightly.
Beyond,
ramping.
beyond where you can get it to stop.
It's like the total of the next generation is so much higher than the current generation, and it's exponentially growing.
Yeah. You're increasing at a increasing rate.
Interesting.
And the funny part to me is cross sections of atomic nuclei are measured in barns because somebody has a really crazy sense of humor. Good and the broad side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's fun measures of everything in science. You know what a thermal measure for clothes is? A clo. It's essentially one suit. It's supposed to be the thermal protection of an average, like it would have been back when it was created, an average male wearing a business suit. That is one clo. And so the stronger, so we think about it and from diving terms, you're trying to keep divers warmer, you need something that's better than one clo. So how high up in number of clo?
Gotcha.
How many
I like the
clos-
erg.
Yeah.
The
There's all
amount of
kinds of
energy it takes to
weird
lift
things.
one average mosquito 1 centimeter. There are some weird ones out there. Like
Yeah.
I did not expect that to be a unit of measurement.
horsepower is not actually the amount of.
Well, we don't really want to
horse
use metric in this country, so.
We do everything.
Banana for scale.
Yeah, my favorite one was during the pandemic. Went to a Mexican restaurant. Never seen this before, but just when social distancing was a thing, and that's lovely. I think that saved a lot of people. On the floor says, "Keep 12 tacos apart."
That's a good one.
My
I got mad at shopping during the pandemic because
some people were
wife
doing that.
asthmatic, right? So I was doing the shopping.
Mhm.
I didn't normally do the shopping. Normally I would do it with my wife, but she knew where everything was. I knew the Walmart, so I'm doing the shopping.
You know where Walmart is.
What
and that's it.
happens during the pandemic? Me and a lot of people looking like me are trying to shop. and Walmart decides to change during the pandemic when guys are shopping who don't know where everything is in the first place. That's the time to reorganize the whole freaking store, move not just the products, but the freaking aisles. And I'm like, where's the bread this week? It was here last week. My wife wants milk. Where'd you move the freezers?
I did not realize this until it's been within the last year. If you are in a store and you zoom in enough on Google Maps, it'll show you what's around you and where the different departments are. My hardware store near me, you can do that. If you're zooming way in, but you can. I don't know if it's at all stores, but I sent that a screen capture of that to the family member chat that we've got, and everybody was like, "Oh!" And so en masse, all of the rest of them went to their nearest hardware store, a big box brand that is
what
not
you wind
an
up?
advertisement.
Sorry, I'm going back.
Go.
What you wind up with is like bombs use like high yield uranium, like uranium 238, right? A lot of extra neutrons, so it'll fast.
It is unhappy uranium.
234 is slow fission, right? But fast fission is what you want for explosives, for bombs, right? So you get like 238, you put some plutonium in there to kick off some extra neutrons, you get it. I got in an argument with a guy online after watching whatever that nuclear thing that came out during the Obama presidency was, and it was like they give you build a bomb project to students every so often to see where they are, and most of them can build the device, they can't get the material, and I'm like, I could make the material, right? Yeah. I got in an argument with a guy, and one of his points was like, couldn't even fit it in a car. So I went online, I Googled, and I'm like, well, here's a re-entry warhead I could fit in the passenger seat of my vehicle, because like you're so off base. Like,
it mildly upset an awful lot of people in my life finding out that from a popular online store retailer that they're named after a giant river, you can order uranium. You can literally order like cans of uranium. I did not. I was quite pleased with this development.
Uranium used to be used, like the slag used to be used for backfill on houses in like Arizona and stuff like that. That's why some houses have a slightly higher.
You used to have uranium glass, which I'm sure you shouldn't.
Oh, there are people that still buy it.
Yeah, I know.
It shows up in fluorescence with the black light.
I also think you shouldn't drink out of that, but you know.
I think it's fine.
I'm not going to.
So here's the thing.
You get a third eye growing out of your.
Do you know how many tons of raw uranium, unreacted? I'm not saying been running a reactor, just raw, mind you. Do you know how many tons it takes? You could sleep on it overnight, 40 tons, and be fine. Not even exceed your exposure limit. So when people are like, did you? How many rounds were zipping by you that were depleted uranium that you got sick? Because that's like, there's one, I know how much I could sleep on overnight and be fine. And you're talking about rounds whipping.
Yeah, I think it would probably be like sustained exposure, sort of like with like spilling formaldehyde once. Not good, don't do it, but like sustained
Sleeping in a pool of mercury, bad, but we used to roll little pieces of
you gotta, and speaking of cancer research, we've just quit funding.
There's a lot of dumb stuff we used to do back in the day because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Mercury is one of them.
When people say, "Oh,
my dad used to have an ounce bottle in his dresser."
I remember in high school us playing with it. Same. In high school, us playing with it and scooting around on the floor. Not acceptable behavior. What you got there?
That's what I'm looking at.
Uh-oh. The last time I handed him something to read, it was the Manual of Human Dissection. I hope you've given him something equally as awful.
No. This could actually be either really good or really bad. Who knows which? But since we're on the power of topic, this was one of the things that I had pulled, and I thought he would enjoy this one. So feel free to talk about it when we get to it.
We will cut here for a moment while David reads.
All right. So a new battery could be released in about 3 months, or make this guy a fool. Right? Says Electric reports that the new bold claim by Donut Lab, it's got to be some guy's garage, right?
Right.
About to advance solid-state battery that has sparked major attention in the EV and energy world. 400 watt-hours per kilogram energy density, 5-minute charge, 100,000. I think I did hear something about this. 100,000 charge cycles or 100-year life cycle. There's one that NASA uses, but it's like gold tungsten, supposedly unlimited, but it's like so pricey to make. Like NASA uses them on the shuttle because they don't have to replace them, but like
That's the kind of thing you put on like a satellite.
yeah, it's like infinite recharge cycles, but heavy as hell and really expensive to build. Playing with production-ready cells, imminent integration, Verge Electric motorcycles. Oh, okay. That'd be awesome. Like that's amazing.
It's a useful size for a really, really incredible.
Very
battery.
dense. Did you see what China's response was to the EV battery burning in a car?
No.
I did.
You did?
Oh, it's fantastic.
So they
So, a lithium fire, you know how bad that is,
Oh, yes.
right? Yes.
they tell the fire department don't even fight it, just back away.
Yeah,
Right.
run. Yeah, like when these things cook off, it is spectacular.
So you're in a car. It's an EV. It catches fire. The new Chinese system punches the battery out so it can burn and save your car. Now imagine it catches fire and you're in the car next to it in traffic.
Yeah. And it gets injected into you.
Not just, could you imagine, like, if you're standing there buying an ice cream from the ice cream man, and suddenly your kid's feet are taken out from under them by a battery that's just been heated out of the ice cream man's
It's starting
machine?
to burn.
Yeah, it's like, we've gone back to old school pirate ships where we're now throwing projectiles at our enemies.
So I can tell you where I think
It's a
EV's
whole
going
new
to.
level of road
It's
rage.
going to be hell to get there, but it's the only viable solution I see for EVs working at the scale people want for long-term trips. And if it works that way, I can see semis being converted across the board. And that is, they have to standardize a battery, a fuel cell,
I was going to say fuel cell, probably.
right?
Yeah.
So standardize an EV battery, right? And then say you purchase the car, which would drop the car price because the battery's the expensive part. But then you purchase into this, say, Exxon, right?
The Exxon battery.
You buy into the Exxon battery. At Exxon, they have a charger rate. And they're charging them when the energy's cheap at night or they're using solar or whatever, and they become these stations. And you pull into a slot, like a car wash kind of thing, right? And your car would have like battery mode. My EV battery is at 5% or less, right? I pull in, I hit a button. My EV battery unclips and goes onto a dolly, and a robotic dolly. It slides it into a charge slot. A fully charged EV battery slides into my car. It would take about the same amount of time as filling your car with gas, right? I now have 100% or 80%, whatever we keep the, probably 80, because I think they last longer if you run them out there, right?
Something like that, yeah.
It slides the battery in, it clamps itself on. I pull out my Tesla or Rivian or whatever it is, and I can go another X miles, pull into another fuel station. Because right now I got to stop for an hour or so,
Yep.
on a class whatever charger, and they have them at like Cracker Barrel. That's great, but I got to stop. This way, I run, I stop, my battery is sitting there charging. It's not mine, right? It's Class X, right? The company, they're paying the utility bill. I pull up, I give them $50, cost them $13 to charge my battery or whatever, right? Because they can slow charge them. They got a whole bank of them. They're making profit. As the batteries go bad, they can run them through an auto test, kick them out, order new ones, right? Now I'm getting a good functional battery in my car. I can drive all the way across country, and every, what is it? What did Tesla go 500 miles on a full charge, something like that? Say,
No idea.
say 500. I'm making it up.
I will say that a Tesla will go like not nearly as far, and it will also irritate everyone around you just because it's a Tesla.
I got you. But I'm saying, like, you get an EV, it goes, right? But you're just leaving to charge, right? And now they're functional, they're viable.
Yeah.
I can just go. Semi-trucks, right? What's the big problem with a semi-truck? Well, A, their gas mileage is terrible, but they have huge tanks. We'll swap it with huge batteries. If you put the same tech in, I pull in, I swap. Now I'm not getting all that exhaust. The truck doesn't have to worry about it. You can even extend the life with solar panels on the roof of the truck, right?
Yep.
But it hauls, and every time it would normally stop at a station for 600 gallons of diesel, it's stopping it. It auto swaps. Cargo's moving.
Plug in
Pollution
batteries,
goes
yep.
really low.
One of the arguments that I used to make,
That's my idea.
I'm with you. One of the arguments-
Somebody out there's going to do it, and I'm not going to get a penny.
You won't. One of the arguments I
But
used to make was that in terms of economies of scale, it makes more sense to produce power at a nuclear plant. And
It's the single most efficient generation
yeah,
currently.
and so like
At
producing
40%.
producing distributed power at each one of the vehicles is the least efficient way to do it in terms of energy efficiency, but in terms of capability to go and travel everywhere, gasoline's a lot easier to move around
The
than
cars are like 12
Yeah.
to 15% efficient.
yeah, they're not great. But I will say that the ideal solution actually would be for every single person to have a little bitty nuclear reactor in their car. Right up until we remember how badly people drive.
No, you can save them. You could.
Really?
It's not. I wouldn't be worried about people driving. It's the idiots that want to take them apart to make something.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna soup up my nuclear power.
No, I'm even fine with that. It's the guy who wants to make a dirty bomb because he's mad at
Somebody, yeah.
some actor on TV, so he wants to dirty bomb their town. Whatever. I'm trying to make
Or the
it
AI
unpolitical.
boyfriend of,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
Well, that's
I got
that's what
tired
I
of
was
Cold
super
Spray
proud.
last episode when we were recording. Yeah,
But-
condemned them to being glass.
It's just that I don't know why things like that don't get thought of. And here's the problem with it. It's kind of like streaming services now, right? 85 different streaming services.
Yes, and you must pay
Disney's
for
got
each
one. Right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
point they're missing is nobody wants to pay for 85 streaming services. They want to pay for one. But they don't want to pay. Here's the other part. Everybody wants you to pay for their channel. The ESPN bundle with 11 channels. Well, what if I only want to watch this, right? The Disney Channel that actually has like, what was that one in Dodgeball? Like
the Ocho.
ESPN 8, the Ocho, and like, the problem is they keep raising the rates to pay for other channels I don't care about. I want that one channel. That's it. I don't want to pay for money so you can sponsor 4 other channels and we can have underwater fish kissing. You know?
I think that's why we're seeing YouTube
Right.
and YouTube TV become so much more popular. Is
Yeah, there's like a couple of things I want on